Hey everybody, today's video is going to be a recap of all of the cards that we have currently seen and my opinions on them. Like I'm talking the teasers and everything showed in the dev diaries and the Discord and all that. So first up, before we get into the main cards, let's recap the buffs and nerfs that we know about on the existing cards that were in the first beta. So firstly, the banana farm's cost is getting increased from 3 to 4. Overall, I think the nerf was much needed, but I don't really know if this is going to be enough. Personally, I think the card is going to need a full rework somehow before it becomes balanced. Next is the Sniper Monkey. Its damage got increased from 50 to 70. Overall, just a much needed buff, and I think it's just about enough to move the Sniper up a tier or two on the total tier list, definitely bringing it up out of a C tier tower. Next up, who I believe to be the biggest winner of these buffs nerfs is the Super Monkey. He got a pretty large damage increase of 15 per shot, but 3 shots, so 45 overall. And most needed, the reload time going down from 4 to 3. The 4 is way too much, unless it's like an insane ability like the Cripple Moab that we'll see later on. So I think the Super Monkey is definitely a strong card, and it will definitely be used in a bunch of decks as like a strong late game defender, just trying to hold out so your balloons can make it through. Next is the Crossbow Monkey, getting a cost reduction from 5 to 4 and a damage buff from 30 to 35. I'd say it was a decent buff, but when the full game comes out, I honestly think he's going to get outclassed by the Sniper Monkey, considering that the monkey costs one less, and its only disadvantage when compared to the crossbow is that it has one less ammo. Still same amount of damage though. So overall, much needed buff, but not massive. Boomerang Loki got a little nerf. Firstly, his damage increased from 15 to 25, so you'd think that'd be good, but his ammo got cut in half, going from 2 to 1, and his special effect is staying at 15 damage. Again, not a massive nerf, but I think it will seriously impact his usability just compared to other cards. I think it really takes him just a whole level below a lot of the rest of the competition, and especially the triple dart, fully outclassed there. And then finally, it's the Golden Balloon, by far the biggest nerf, even more than the Boomerang, I'd say. The card went from, a solid card, fit in a lot of decks, you'd use it, you'd pressure your opponent, but now it's borderline unplayable. Like, it's just like a black balloon, a card that gets outclassed in every way by its standard counterpart. So, in the Gold Balloon's case, it's the Green Balloon, because they both cost 2, and it has a nearly useless effect. So, but now that the buffs and nerfs out the way, it's time for what people really want to see, which is all the teased and leaked cards. I'm going to be covering these in order of their shown rarity, starting with the commons and ending with the rare, like purple ones. So first up is the Elite Defender. I like the design of this card, and I think it fits well compared to the other monkeys. I think it's going to see a lot of usage, as the Defender keyword is likely going to be a very powerful one, as it's the only way we have of dealing with against pink balloons, quick readies, and whatever other zero delay cards are going to be released in the final game. Next up is the Mortar Monkey, who I personally think is going to be strong. Its attack is far stronger than the curve. It and attack zone are kind of both in their whole tier. These early game, very powerful damage dealing cards, but it's supposedly balanced by its random effect. I think the card will struggle against the early game aggression because of the wasted damage and the RNG aspect, but I think it can still definitely be strong throughout. Honestly, even through a lot of the mid game, it's just gonna have trouble against the aggro decks. Next up is the Monkey Village. In the right deck, surrounded by the right monkeys, this card is definitely all right. Like just all right. But unless there are monkeys in the final game that will have more than 3 ammo, I have a hard time believing it will be a mainstay in many decks. So currently, I just think it's a bit underwhelming card. There's not many reasons to be running this buffing card when you could just run a whole nother tower and get more damage in that way. So finally, for the commons is Stun. Yes, I know it's currently in the game, but it isn't exactly a playable card. I think it's going to be super strong for only 2 costs, and I don't really have much else to say. I don't want to call it broken right now, but I'd not be surprised if that was the end result when the full game is released. I mean, being able to shut down a monkey for a turn for only 2 costs is extremely strong. So next up is the Cash Drop Sniper, moving into the rarer tier here. I think it's a pretty good card. You know, it's almost been implied that there will be ways to reduce monkey delay. So I'm sure comboed with those cards, the Cash Drop Sniper will find his way into a few different archetypes of decks. Sorry, it's burp there. Alright, next up is the Super Monkey Fan Club. If this card stays how it is now, I think it's bad. Like, pretty bad. Even if you have 4 other Dart Monkeys, each with 2 ammo, that's only 110 total damage, including its 30 damage that it does. So, you know, 110 for 7 cost, that's just not very underwhelming. Finally, for the silver cards, the last one is Bedtime. I think this card will low-key be good, especially if you are against a Super Monkey Fan Club, because the fan club only buffs the darts on its own turn, so it's another reason the fan club isn't great. So Bedtime can still be used as removal. Anyways, I think it's a pretty good removal card, and we'll see a lot of use in aggro decks just to get the early defenders out the way so it can really squeak in as much damage in the early game. Moving on to the gold cards. First up is Fortify. I think this card is super strong. Basically a 3 cost plus 50 guaranteed damage, almost like the pink balloon, except it's a spell. But where this card gets its true strength is when it synergizes with a card like Double Rainbow, which I'll talk about the Double Rainbow later if you haven't seen it yet, but it basically turns Fortify into a 3 cost guaranteed 100 damage card, which is insanely powerful. Next up is Shrink, which is a 5 cost that negates a monkey for at least a turn. It just says it turns it into a baby. So it's hard to give a verdict on this card, as we don't know what the baby monkeys are yet, what they do, if they do anything. So I can't really say, you know, it's a great card, it's a bad card, because we just don't know yet. Next up for the platinum cards, we have only seen one of these, and that is the Prince of Darkness. It is the most expensive monkey that we know about, and again, just like Shrink, it's hard to give a verdict because we don't exactly know enough about the Undead Moab, like if it has damage itself or if it only heals your balloons. But regardless, just the healing effect alone, I think it'll make it a strong card, and it'll be definitely useful to help finish off your low health opponents, because it heals 30 every turn. So it's like, oh, just a little bit more damage, and I think that healing 30 can help you squeak it in there. Finally, what I assume is going to be, you know, the legendary tier. I think it has a name, but I'm not sure, honestly. We've only seen one monkey and one balloon. The monkey is the Cripple Moab, and I've seen a lot of hate towards this card, especially in the Discord. Not they hate the mechanic, but they all saying it's trash, it's garbage, gonna be terrible in the main game. And I do think it is a bit underwhelming. I don't think it's like terrible, you know. I don't think it's bad. I think it can be clutch, but I don't think it's particularly strong, if that makes sense. Like, it's gonna have its uses. There's gonna be times where honestly it will be the card that wins you the game, but I just don't know if that's gonna be every game or how worth it is to even put in a deck. I mean, 4 delay is just really so much in this game. Like, it's one thing to say a card is 4 delay, but then playing a game and then having a 4 delay card, it's a whole different world. So I think it's pretty brutal. I just don't think any card with 4 delay, unless it has an insane effect, insane ability, crazy damage, something like that, is going to be particularly strong. And finally is the Double Rainbow Balloon. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I don't think this card in and of itself is super strong. I think it's completely reliant on the other cards that you pair it with, whether it's Fortify, Quick Ready, or the Balloon and Growth. This card has a lot of potential to honestly even be a one-turn kill. So although I don't think the card isn't particularly strong, once you get the synergies going, I think it's going to be really strong. There's a lot of decks whose win condition is going to be this double balloon rainbow, and it's going to be just making sure that this rainbow balloon is what connects with your opponent. So I would not be surprised to see a lot of decks just focus on this one option and doing whatever they can to get it on the field, keep it alive, and just make sure that it can squeak its damage in. Oh, and then one more bonus card. I saw this. It was at the bottom of the Game Awards for Bloons Card Storm. It says rest something with like, it looks like draw, but I thought it said draw 2. But the more I look at it, It almost looks like it says draw question mark. So I have no idea what that means. I don't, if you have any idea what this card is or anything like that, please let me know, because when I was doing the research for this video, I found it just at the bottom there, and I knew I'd at least bring it up or ask you guys what's up with it. So yeah. Anyways, I'm super excited for this game and to make content on it. So if you have any ideas you would like to see me cover, just let me know. I'm always happy to make the content that, you guys are going to want to see. Because when this game comes out, I plan to be in full force making videos.